George, there are some conditions that we come across in medicine that can be intractable to established and, if you like, conventional treatments, and that can include some forms of chronic pain, particularly nerve pain, epilepsy, especially in children, and necessarily some sorts of problems associated with cancer and problems associated with cancer, such as nausea and pain.
And this whole medicinal cannabis, I've watched it play out over the last few years. We all have, like social media has been, there's been a lot of sharing. And initially I thought, is this fringe conspiracy? Is this just, and eventually it started to play out that no, this is a legitimate thing and everyone's coming on board with it. Then my cynicism of, greed, where I saw that, is this nature helping us and we're like creating bureaucracy and people who can control it and make money out of it? Is this really what's slowing down the process? Because I can tell you, it's a sore point for me when I see a little child who's having an epileptic fit and they're given one drop of that oil and they just calm down, and you think to yourself, thank goodness something is making a difference to that child. And then you see the parents are being criminalized and all this nonsense, and you think to yourself, are we really that screwed up as a society that we get in the way of what's working in the moment and we say, oh, it's not scientific yet? I thought life was a laboratory too, not just what other people tell us is real or not.
Look, it is, and I think the first important thing to say is that there's a move towards using and looking more at medicinal cannabis, and that's happening in a number of countries. There's 30 states in the US that have legalised medicinal use of cannabis. Canada has been going down this path for about 17 or 18 years. Chile, Uruguay, there are a number of jurisdictions. Medicinal cannabis is not a panacea for everything, and it's like any form of treatment or medication. It's going to work for some people for certain conditions. It's not going to work for everybody for everything. So the example that you gave, George, literally just in late May this year, some research has come out showing benefit for medicinal cannabis in certain forms of childhood epilepsy. But that doesn't mean that a couple of drops of oil is going to help every child who has it. So it's easy for people to get quite anti, and for various reasons there's a body that's very strongly opposed to cannabis. Equally, on the other side, it can be sort of held up as this miracle wonder drug. There is a role for it. There is research out there. It's an area that I'm increasingly interested in and looking into. And the more you look, obviously, the more you find. So there is a body of research out there. It's been difficult to do research for the obvious reason that it's been illegal. There are significant differences in its effect when you smoke it versus take it as an oil. And that's to do with the THC, which gives you the high, and the cannabinoids, which have the physiological effects. So in an oral form, you get much less of the THC. And this is one of the reasons why when we move towards medicinal cannabis, you can have exact dosage. You can have it in an oral form rather than an inhaled form. So in Canada, it's been going since the late 1990s, and this is an interesting story. An individual took the Canadian government to court to say that he did have the constitutional right to provide medication for himself in the form of medicinal cannabis, and won the High Court challenge.
Wow.
Up until the 1930s, medicinal cannabis was used in a number of countries, including the USA. It was banned in 1936, but before that time it had been used. So it's not a new drug. It's got this fearsome reputation, probably undeservedly so, and it's not without side effects. And let's not pretend like any other pharmaceutical or any other product, there can be adverse effects. But I think we need to level the playing field and say, well, we need to look at, as if it was any other potential treatment, who can it help? How much or how little do we need to use? What form do we need to use it in? What are the side effects? And to that extent, it's no different than a medication for high blood pressure, for asthma, for diabetes. If it can be used for epilepsy, if it can be used for chronic pain, then let's take away some of the fear and the phobia. Let's take away a bit of the hysteria, and let's just look at it like any other potential pharmaceutical. No better, no worse.
We hope you enjoyed the video, and if you like Healthy Minded, please subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Yeah, and share with your friends. Please put comments below whether you agree, disagree, if you've got topics you'd like for the future. And until next time, stay healthy minded.